so my name is Temi Popoola, and I'll be going into my presentation and making sure you see my face now, because you may not see my face in a while. I'll just be showing you my slides, and then I'll come back, and then we'll get into it. Great. Thank you for understanding. Someone said, we understand. Thank you. So why public speaking? Why public speaking? I just told you that everyone needs to give a speech at some point, whether or not you're a compere or moderator. Everyone needs to give a speech. Now, in this course, I'm going to teach you how to prepare. I'm going to talk to you about stage fright, and I'm going to tell you how to deliver, how to prepare. That's what you do before you go on. And stage fright, because a lot of people were complaining and speaking about stage fright, that seems to be the biggest issue that people are dealing with. And delivery. How do I deliver on the D-Day, when you're called upon to speak? How do you do this? I'll tell you a story. I delayed this story for a bit because I was a little distracted, but we'll get into it now. So when I was in secondary school, I was one of those people that was very interested in public speaking. You know those people that when you say who will do literary and debate, their hands are up, who will do press club, they'll be a part of it. They just like to be a part of a lot of things, and they were at the forefront. So I was one of those people in secondary school. However, at some point, I think I'll call it peer pressure. So I was just no longer that person that was very interested in these things. The reason was because I thought that cool people, cool teenagers don't like to speak in public. Cool teenagers stay at the back in class. Cool teenagers don't like to be, those who do these things. Cool teenagers are just the ones that sit at the back. And some of my friends were not involved in public speaking. So it seemed like such a great idea, actually. Was it great after all? I don't think so. Now that I look back, it was such a bad idea. I just wanted to follow the other people and do some of these things. What I didn't realize at that point, though, is that many people were not involved in public speaking, not because they were not interested, but because they didn't know how. So they didn't know how, they were timid, but I didn't know this. I just thought it was cool. Nobody's talking in public. My friends are not talking in public. I want to be like them. So it was just a cool thing to do, to run away from those things and appear cool. I remember those days like yesterday. And then I got into the university. Funny how I have some of my classmates from the university right here. A big shout out to everyone who is here. So I got into the university, and I was at that point again where I was like, it was a new place. So I decided to continue like a spy, just be shy. I didn't set out to be shy. But the plan was I was going to be quiet. I was going to not talk a lot. That was just the plan. Just be quiet. Just don't talk a lot. Don't get noticed because of some of the things that you have heard about being in university and things like that. So I went ahead with this plan until I got to a point where I realized that this was not for me. This was not a good idea. I wanted to talk. I wanted to answer questions in class, and I could no longer speak up because I'd gotten shy. So when I wanted to now come out, it was as though I built a new character that just puts me in that shell, and I couldn't speak. Not that I wouldn't any longer. I started out with I wouldn't, and it soon became I couldn't. Bad, yes, I know, really bad. And so I started to understand public speaking from the basics. I started to understand afresh. I now got interested in it. And so that's why I can relate with you. If you're here and you haven't spoken in public before, or perhaps you tried it before and it went really, really bad. You gave a speech that just cost you a heartache and you decided, I'm not going to do this again until you saw the flyer for this program. So don't worry. I've been there, and that's why I'm hosting this program. That's why I decided to start from the ABCs. Remember how we started learning alphabets? A for apple, B for ball, C for cat. So we're starting with the basics. And that's why I'm doing this, the ABCs of public speaking. So you're in the right place. If you haven't learned anything about public speaking, or if you've practiced and it hasn't worked for you, trust me, you're in the right place. Now, course content. This is what I'm going to be teaching you. Preparation, stage fright, and delivery. I told you earlier, preparation, stage fright, and delivery. Moving right into it. Preparation stage. I do hope you have your biro and your paper, or anything that you use to jot, your phone, any device you use to jot, I do hope you have it close by. Preparation stage, let's get into that. What do you do as you prepare? What do you do when you get into this? You have a presentation. Someone invites you and says, "Hi, Lola, you're supposed to make a presentation for us on child rights, or you're supposed to talk to us about the law of defamation or something." What do you do at that point? You do this, you prepare. And first thing I say here is research, research. So wherever you are, you can echo that research. Very, very, very important. Very important. You know, there's this discussion about what is more important, content or package. What's more important, how you say it or what you say? I'll tell you that what you say is very important, and how you say it is equally important. Because you could go somewhere and have all of the delivery and everything, and there are intelligent people in the crowd, and you know what they say? What you said is not correct. What you said, it just doesn't sit well with us. Or what you said, this person didn't do enough research. So it's very important for you to do research. This involves subject and audience research. So you want to actually research on the subject. What am I discussing? Go into it. Who am I speaking to? That audience. Who am I going to talk to? I'm a compere. I'm a lawyer. I'm a journalist. And before I go ahead to compare an event, or before I go ahead to moderate a panel discussion, or to do anything of sort, I prepare. So that means I first of all ask the people who invite me, what do you want me to talk about? Even if I'm not the one talking, if I'm just organizing the event or moderating the entire event as a compere, I still want to know what is the topic so that I know how to make useful contributions. Now, who is my audience? Who is your audience when you're talking to people? So assuming you are talking to professionals and you're invited to talk to professionals, how would you speak to them? Now, assuming you were talking to teenagers, how would you talk to them? If you're talking to teenagers, you probably want to use some language. Do you want to go to teenagers and, you're talking to teenagers? Do you want to go there and start sounding very high? Do you want to start using big words and legal jargons when you're talking to teenagers? No, they wouldn't understand. So there's a language you use, there's a way you communicate. So many a times I speak to people or I moderate events where we have people who are technical experts. So I understand that these people are professionals. I'm not going to go there and start out with, "Hey guys, give me a high five." Nobody wants a high five here. They're here for serious business. So that's why it's important that you know who am I speaking to. Very, very important. Now, I said here that impromptu speeches test your knowledge. Why did I say so? Because sometimes you don't have all the time to research. You don't have 1 week to research. You don't have notice to research. What you have is 20 minutes. And they say, "You're coming up in 20 minutes. Oh, please, we know you know this field. Just go and find out." So this actually tests your knowledge. It tests your residual knowledge. What do you know? And that's why I said impromptu speeches test your knowledge. Now, the second thing is organize. Very important for you to organize. Now, what do I mean by organize? How do you start? What do you say next? What do you say next? How do you start? So if I'm going to start out a presentation, do I want to start out with a story? Do I want to tell them, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen," a salutation? That's a salutation. Do I want to start out with a salutation is a greeting? Do I want to start out with a quote? Somebody used to make, back when I was in university, somebody used to say a lot of quotes and we just used to applaud him and say quotable quotes because of the things he used to say. We used to call it punchline. So he'll come up and he will say things like, "It is visible to the blind, audible to the deaf," and he will say things like that and everybody will be like, "Ooh, how do you want to start your speech?" So if you have, now ladies can relate well to having your makeup scattered all over. And when you're about to start, you don't know where to pick it from, right? So that means that if you have things in a place, if you have things organized, then you can easily deliver. So organize your thoughts. What am I going to start with? Am I going to start with a story? Am I going to start with a speech? With a quote? Am I going to start with a fact? Do you know that over 180 million Nigerians live in Nigeria today? Do you know that WHO says so and so about health in Nigeria? These are things to note. So research and organize your thoughts. How do you want to start? Now, after you start, are you going to pause halfway and say, I'm coming. What do we do next? What next? So when you start, you need to know what next. What next? After I start, what next? And I say here that avoid cramming. Avoid cramming, because something, we used to do this back in school. When you cram, you find that you could forget everything, or forget just one line. And it's like building a house on a pack of cards, or building a house on a faulty foundation. Everything just crumbles. Everything falls to the ground. So when you cram, it's like you forget one line and you're like, what's that? If you cram something, you just say, what am I saying? I can't remember now. So it's important that you organize your thoughts, and it's important that you practice. What do you say? How do you continue? How do you end? Very important. And now we're back to this almighty, or we're here now at this almighty discussion. See, when I was going through this form that a lot of people filled, I realized that many people were talking about stage fright. I'm talking about the messages I got from people, questions and comments. A lot of people were talking about stage fright. Okay, I just paused to see a comment where someone is asking whether we'll be uploading the video or we'll be sharing audios or videos later on, or we'll be sharing the slides. Well, we'll get to that. We'll find out at the end of this discussion. I mean, if we don't share the slides, it's okay that you're here, and I'm sure you're learning anyways. But if we share the slides, you get it. What do we do? Share or not share? Share or not share? Okay, so you know what? I'll announce something at the end of this, and I'll tell you how you can get the slides. If you want the slides, I'll tell you how you can get the slide. I think that's fair. If you have questions and comments, keep them coming. Or let's do it this way, so I don't get distracted in between my presentation. How about you suspend the questions to when I'm done, and then we take the questions. We take the questions after I'm done. I think that works for us. So stage fright. I was saying that you are not alone here. You are not alone. I put up a post recently where I said that when I went up for a particular presentation that earned me some points with the organizers and other people who were in the place, I actually felt butterflies in my stomach. Let me describe it to you. Before I went up, my stomach I just felt like I wanted to use the toilet. I just felt, okay, I don't want to do this. I just wanted to go and use the convenience quickly and rush out. Thank God I didn't. And I said to go or not to go. Really, that was the state I was in. Maybe you're in that stage. Maybe you've been in that place before. You are not alone. A lot of incredible presenters face this challenge. A lot of incredible presenters face this challenge. So you are not alone. Now, what do you do to overcome stage fright? That's the discussion, right? First thing, relax. Relax. Whew. You know what you should do now? I know you're sitting and you're watching. Just sit back and take a deep breath, like, relax. Relax your body, relax your soul. If you're having a presentation tomorrow, that's not the time to sleep. If you're having a presentation by 8 a.m., that's not the time to sleep by 7 a.m. or to sleep by 5 a.m. You don't want to wake up and your body is just tired. If you're having a presentation in the evening, that's not the time to fast all morning because of anxiety. No, tell yourself you need to put something in your stomach. You need to eat. You need to relax. It will tell on your body, and then it will tell on your soul. So relax. Don't be anxious. Take a deep breath like we just did now. And relax. Now, I said that these could actually help. Laugh, exercise, pray, breathe. When I want to present, one thing I like to do if there's a convenience around is go into the convenience and sigh. Take a deep breath like, I like to do that. You know, you don't want to do that in front of a crowd so that they don't begin to ask you if something is wrong, right? You don't want to do that. But you want to go to a particular place, in your bathroom, go through your script, pour water on your head, shower and take a deep breath and just relax. Another thing you want to do, or you could try doing, is laugh. These things that help you, these things help your soul, help you to feel more confident, help you to relax, rest more. So what you could do could be laugh, take a good laugh, have a good laugh, exercise, pray. I'm a believer. I have faith and I believe in Jesus. So I like to pray, especially when I pray in tongues. That helps me a lot. I just take time out when I have a presentation and I just pray and I pray in tongues. And when I'm done, I'm like, okay, we can do this. Okay, let's do this. So this will help. Relax. Sometimes the tension, sometimes you know everything. You're good to go. Your script is perfect. But you need to relax. Next thing I say here is interact. Interact with the audience, interact with participants, interact with the speakers. And that means that you should go there earlier. Get to the venue where you're going to be presenting before the time, so that you get to strike a conversation with somebody who is also presenting. Hi, John. My name is Jane, and I'm going to be presenting on this. What do you think about this? What are your expectations for this event? Interact. Don't be in your room and you come out straight and go straight to the lectern and you start your presentation. No, you want to interact with people and get a feel of their desires, get a feel of their thoughts on this subject. And you know what that does? It helps you to see that they're not so scary after all. So we're moving on, ABCs of public speaking, the basics. So this is the delivery stage. What do you do? I find that a lot of people go up, and we're talking of being there on the D-Day. A lot of people go up and they start to speak almost immediately. So you have a presentation and you're invited up. Please welcome John Doe from Nigeria. And everybody's like, woo, go John Doe. And then you go up and you just start, hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is John Doe. I'm from Nigeria. And halfway, you're thinking to yourself, what am I saying? Am I even pausing to think about what I'm saying? So that's why it's very important that you pause. Just take a deep breath before you start speaking. It's okay to take the microphone and not speak immediately. Yes, it's okay. You know what? I'm not saying you should keep silent for 20 hours or 20 minutes. I'm saying that moment where you reflect and you gather your thoughts immediately. That moment when you run through your presentation in your mind. Do that. Take the microphone and take a deep breath. And say, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Temi, Popoola, and I'm here to talk to you about the ABCs of public speaking. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm happy to welcome everyone who has come from Nigeria, United States, Africa. Wow, so many countries and continents here. Take a deep breath. Pause. It's okay. So don't go at it and immediately you want to start presenting. You could just get nervous, anxious, and just not process everything you're saying. I know that the eyes of people going to and fro could probably be pricking your soul and making you feel that I have to talk now. They expect me to talk now. It's okay to keep silent for a minute or two and get them to think, what's he going to say? Perhaps they were gathering their notes and their bags or something while you went up. When you go up and you hold on for a second and you hold the microphone with a smile, they would look up and wonder, is he not talking? And then they find out that, oh, after all, she's talking. And then you start your beautiful presentation. That works. What do you think about it? I think that works. So if you haven't tried that, then you should. The next thing I say here is intonate. Intonate. So you know what we call intonation? That's using pitch, rising and falling pitch. For example, when I was 5 years old, my dog died. And that was such a sad experience because I loved Kupi. Kupi was my favorite dog in the world. And we had a burial ceremony for Kupi. It was really, really, really sad. I mean, I look back at it and I think to myself that Could I have done anything to prevent Kupi from passing on? This dog was important to me. And that's why I'm hosting this event, talking to people about taking care of their animals, because pets are important. Do you know what it feels like to smile when you see your pet? When you come back from work and your pet comes to greet you, whew, what a feeling. Ladies and gentlemen, I understand that you're busy going after things in life. You're busy trying to get things done. But this is important. This is something. Pets are animals, are humans' best friends. I know my dog was. It's been 15 years and I still haven't found a Kupi. But now at least there's a Gabi. Gabi reminds me so much of Kupi. So I leave you with these words. Do something about your pets. Do something about your dogs. Don't take them for granted. They're important. You can do it. Now, what did I just do? I told you an emotional story. I could tell you the story in another way. Let me try it. Now listen to the story. When I was 5 years old, my dog, Kupi, she died. It was really sad. It was really sad. Kupi died. We did burial for Kupi. After Kupi died, burial, right? After the burial, then I just thought to myself, I don't want other dogs dying and I don't want people suffering from this. I don't want people's dogs dying. So I'm organizing this program so that you guys do something about your dogs. Make sure that your dogs don't die. Remember that pets are a human's best friend. Remember that they're really, really important. They're important to you. So do something about your dog, will you? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I want to tell you today. Please do something about your dog. Thank you. Bye. What do you think about those two presentations? Which one moved you? I'm sure when I started with the first one, you were wondering if I'm talking about a dog or something else. You know, somebody would be like, is it dog? Is it another thing? Now, this is it. What did I do? The rising and the falling of my voice, that told the story. I told the story through the rising and the falling of my voice. And so you could understand, the emotions were there. The emotions were there because at some point my voice was high. At some point it was laden with emotions. It was filled with emotions. At some point it was like, this is my dog. At some point it was like, ladies and gentlemen, do something. That is how to get people to relate to your story. So a lot of people have passion and zeal and they go about making beautiful presentations and all the audience does is clap. But did you pass the message across? If the answer is no, then how did you tell your story? Not necessarily what story did you tell, not necessarily how you paused at the beginning, but how you told the story throughout. Did you carry them along? Do you understand? Okay. So this was a fictitious story. I made it up right now. I do not have a dog called Kupi. I do not have a dog called Gabi, but I needed you to understand what I was saying. Now, non-vocal communication. Non-vocal communication. These are the things, this is what you do with your hands, your gestures, your face, those things you do when you're not speaking verbally. When you're not speaking, you're not talking to people with your mouth. You're talking to them with your face. For example, talking to them with your smile. So look at this picture, for example. What does it communicate to you? Does it communicate to you? Does it say to you, I'm ready, let's go? Or does it say to you, I don't know if I can do this? Or does it say to you, I do not like you? So when you go up there and you are telling them, I'm so grateful for the opportunity, but you're looking at them like, I don't need your opportunity, then something is speaking much more than your voice. Now, people usually say, or I see a lot of people do this, not that they say it now, but I see a lot of people do this sometimes. People go up and they start to speak and they are just frowning. They're just like, yes, okay, well. You know what I can tell when you do that? It seems like you're uneasy. It seems as if you're uneasy, or it seems as if you're not sure. Or you don't want us to ask you questions. So you're just like, let me just do my face like this. If I do my face like this, finish. Then people are not going to really ask me questions. They're not going to bother me because my face is going to scare them away. I'll tell you something. Your face is very important when you actually do that, when you make that impression on them. So if what you're going for is that impression that don't ask me questions, I know what I know, don't talk to me, that's it, then it's okay. Frown and go up there and do it and leave. After all, you don't want to network with anyone. But if you want to network with people, then you go up there and you smile. Even if you don't have it all put together, even if you don't know everything, you smile because there's an aura of confidence that comes when you smile. Remember that song that says, when you smile, the whole world stands. There's some poetic energy here today. So next thing I say here is, non-verbal vocal communication is very important. And then I say enunciate. Now, it's very important that you speak clearly. It's very important. Very important. If I was telling you, I want you to come along, and I say, auntie, come along, auntie, come along, I want you to come along, you wonder, what is she saying? I want you to come along. And then you ask me, sorry, what did you say? I want you to come along. If you want to say, I want you to come along, let it be clear. I want you to come along. Come along. He's probably going to do that. What are you saying? He's probably going to do that. That boy is not serious. That boy is not serious. That boy is not serious. And people pause and say, did you hear me say, ha? What is he saying? What is she saying? So it's very important that you speak clearly. Now, I said here, avoid up talk. Avoid up talk. What does that mean? Many people make statements that sound, sometimes I do it, so don't look like when we say many people, we're not looking around and looking for the many people. Where are they? Where are they? Let's find them. Being in those shoes, being there, done that. Avoid up talk. Avoid up talk. That means that if I want to make a statement and I want to say that, Sharon, could you please let me know if they can see the full screen or if they can only see half screen? If that's the statement I want to make, for example, could you please let me know if they can face? And I say, could you please let me know if they can see the full screen or if it's just half screen? Because I say could, you understand that that's a question, right? Now, assuming I say, I want to go, and I say, I want to go, you understand that's a statement. But when I say, I want to go, that's what I'm talking about. I want to go. Am I asking? When you find that sometimes you do those things, you're speaking to someone and you're like, I will be leaving now. You're about to say, I will be leaving now. That's a statement, not a question. But you put it as, I'll be leaving now. That's like you're not sure. That's like you're asking for permission. So when you go there and you speak to the audience, don't go and ask them, or don't go and ask them questions when you are meant to be making statements. This is the end of my presentation. Should not be, this is the end of my presentation. No, this is the end of my presentation. I do hope you enjoyed it. That sounds better. That sounds like a statement. So please be clear. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a short time, and I'm mindful of rounding off by 1 p.m. so that we can take questions, go until 1 p.m. and it's almost 1 p.m. West African time, and I'll be taking questions and comments. But there's a lot more. I must tell you that there is a lot more. I came up with 8 things, just 8 principles here, or 8 things you need to note so that you can take this in, because the focus of this presentation is for amateurs, it's for beginners. That's why we call it the ABCs of public speaking. And I do believe that if you practice these things, your game will be things. Search is the first thing. R. O for organize. Relax is the next thing. R. Interact is the fourth. I. And then we have P for pause, intonate, non-vocal communication, and enunciate. So we say P-I-N-E. So what do we have here? R-O-R-I-P-I-N-E. What do we call that? We need to put it in a form of an acronym so that we remember. So it's easy for you to remember. So that next time when I say, what did you learn from my presentation? You easily remember. Remember Mr. Najadi? Movement, respiration, nutrition, irritability, growth. Oh, I'm such a good biology student. So if you remember this as an acronym, it will be easy for you to remember these things and put them into practice. So with or without the slide, you're good to pine. Rory Pine. Can you say Rory Pine? R for research. O I for interact. You can make a mistake and have things go on. Oh, there were a lot of technical issues this morning when we started, or this afternoon when we started. I can tell you that for sure. But you have to create a message out of the mess. Don't go there and say, oh, I've forgotten my lines. That's the end. No, move on. Create a message out of the mess. Be positive. We all make mistakes. You can make mistakes. I make mistakes and I learn from them. You can do better as a public speaker. So now let's go to your questions and let me find out what you need to learn. Yeah, this is my email.com. It's just on your screen. Okay. So I'm going to stop screen share now. Okay, I'll leave it on the screen for about so Rory Pine, yeah, really nice. R for research, O for organize. If I meet anybody on the street and you tell me you attended my training and I ask you what did you learn, Rory Pine means. Because I will ask you if you tell me you learned something. So if you go to LinkedIn now and you say, oh, I just finished at Temi's training, it was insightful, then you better tell us what you learned. Rory Pine. And I'm sure a lot of people will be asking, what is Rory Pine very soon? Like, what this Rory Pine gang? Because everything is gang now, especially on Instagram. Rory Pine goes, don't worry. They don't know. We know because we were here. So there's a lot much more for you, but let me hear your questions. Let your questions come in now. And then I'm leaving my email and my LinkedIn details here so that if you need to connect, you can do that very quickly. Okay, so question says, how do you handle talking when there's an unplanned pause during a program? Okay. Okay. I'm trying to get as many questions as I can. How do you get opportunities for public speaking? Very important. Let me quickly address this. Ladies and gentlemen, don't wait for big platform. Don't wait to be invited to the platform to start speaking. It's very, very important that you start now. You start now. Let me remind you, we're going to be closing by 1:20. So 1 hour for the presentation and 20 minutes for question and answers. So you start now. And what does that mean? One part I left out on my story because of time is telling you that I started in small places. I started speaking in class. Yes, I was one of those people that would raise my hand and speak in class and ask questions. I started speaking. I was one of those people that would go and give testimonies because I was learning to be a better public speaker. I was one of those that volunteered a lot. So don't wait for the big platform. The thing is, you keep getting better. First time I spoke to about 1,000 people. Ooh, it was like a different place. But thank God I started speaking to 50 people and 10, 100. And so start where you are. How do you engage your mind while speaking? Ooh, these messages are going so fast. How do you engage your mind? Well, that's got to be you focusing and you knowing what you have to say, because trust me, a lot of distractions will come. Somebody will just suddenly, when you want to start speaking, somebody will just suddenly decide to start hitting your window, or or somebody will start announcing something around or doing something. About it is that you've got to remember what you want to say. So let it flow. If you cram, everything will go out. Everything will go out if you cram. Do you ever deal with imposter syndrome, feeling like a fake? This is something I need to reflect and really think about. Well, I mean, I've dealt with feeling timid and shy, like I explained. But I mean, feeling like a fake, to be honest, I can't really remember. I can't recollect that. If I do, maybe I will share an experience. But I mean, you can definitely, just overcome this. But if you're asking me personally, if I ever dealt with that I really can't remember feeling like that. But I do remember feeling shy and feeling timid. And I do remember feeling like people who were presenting or doing things, I could actually do what they were doing, but I was just shy, and that made me feel bad. But it didn't make me feel fake, as it is. Okay. So I'm trying to scroll up so I can see your questions. And a lot of online materials now that you can use for public speaking. But there's somebody I recommend in Nigeria. Someone I recommend in Nigeria. Her name is Joyce Daniels. She has materials that are useful for public speaking. And trust me, these are very important materials that you want to get. So Joyce Daniels, hurry up and go to search for her online, search for her on Instagram and connect with her. She has 2 books already on public speaking, and particularly for compares like me, these things are very important material. So I recommend Joyce Daniels. She's really, really, really good. She's my mentor, so I recommend her. How do you connect with your audience and carry them along? How do you connect with your audience and carry them along? First thing you do is know your audience. I like to see my audience, and that's why I'm so grateful that we have the chat box here. I like to see my audience. So even if you cannot see your audience, you've got to imagine your audience. So connecting with them means like not everything. Sometimes you go and deliver something very formal. Know who they are. Are they young people? Then think like them. What will I say that will make them smile? What will I say? I recently had a presentation, and I was talking to people who were older and they were professionals. And then I was talking about certain things, and you could see them. And somebody said, Temi, how did they listen to you for so long, despite the fact that you're young, and they listened to you and they were just watching, and they were old people, because I knew my audience. I understand their language, so I speak their language. That's it. So what's your advice for those who have a speech impairment, like people who stutter? How can they best manage this challenge with public speaking? So if you stutter, right, after helping them to overcome this challenge with speaking. So people are trained in this area, and I recommend go online and find out how to get better at this. There are people who, this is what they do. This is what I recommend that you do. Okay. What are the exercises to develop yourself? Volunteer mind and use your data. You use your data personal development. Use your data for personal development. What do you do when you suddenly come face to face with an audience and your tongue goes dry? You pause, you take a minute, you take a deep breath, and you speak to them. Don't feel like you need to speak immediately. If your heart begins to beat faster and your tongue goes dry, I understand that. But just pause and remember. Remember, what do you remember? That's why I said that some exercises help you before the program or before your event or before you go up. For example, something that helps me, I told you, is praying. I pray in tongues. It really, really, really helps me. Works like I don't know what to describe to this. So that could be helpful before you go up. But I mean, you're up already. You don't want to just think, oh guys, hold on, I just want to pray in tongues for a second. So you want to pause and remember, what do you recollect? Recollect that you can do this. Visualize yourself doing it. Those things help. Trust me, people will say, oh, those things are encouraging you and helping your psychology, but those are very important. Those are very important. When you cheer yourself up, it helps you a lot. Is it normal to be afraid or nervous before a speech? If you dropped the question already, please drop it again. Drop it again, because there are a lot here and I want to say it if I've not answered it. Is it normal to be nervous or anxious before a speech? Yes, it is normal. Mary, to be honest, there are certain emails, there are certain speeches I go for or present. I just a notice about a message about email and I said email. But there are certain messages or meetings that I go for and messages I have to present or presentations I have to make that I am nervous. And there's some that I've gotten used to the audience or I've gotten used to the people involved, or for some reason I'm just not nervous. But it's okay whether you're nervous or not. Somebody said do it afraid. So do it afraid. Don't let that stop you from going on. Temi, I co-hosted an event for the first time some years ago and I messed it up. I never went back to it. I'm so sorry about that, Oma. So sorry that the event didn't go well. It's okay. Well, I'm sure that they're not angry at you. I'm sure that they understand. But what's more important is how you go ahead, how you forge ahead despite this. Oh, the event didn't go well, but the next one can go well. And all it's in your hands to make it go well. So do all of these things. Remember the Rory Pine principle. Go and practice them and go on. And they wouldn't even tell that it was the same. Or Yahoo. It is as in Yahoo Mail, but this time not Yahoo Mail, because if you put in Yahoo Mail, it will not go. So why mail? It's on purpose. It's not Gmail. Grumbling during the course of giving a presentation. Godwin, good question. When the audience grumbles, what could you do about that during the course of a presentation? There are a lot of things I would like to say. Trust me, there's a lot more I want to tell you. A lot more. For example, being firm. Being very, very firm when you speak, especially when you're talking to an audience or moderating a panel discussion. It's very important. But I mean, what I would just say about that is, if the audience is grumbling, make them see that you are competent enough to deliver. And that shows in how you deliver. That shows in how you speak to them. So don't go there and remember what we said about up talk. Don't go there and like, please, can you stop? Can you please not make noise? Please, can you not? It's like you're asking them. But of course, it's important to be polite. Or how about you go there and you say, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to kickstart. I would like to ask that you please take your seats as we start. So you've got to be firm. You've got to be firm. You've got to be assertive, and you've got to be polite. That's very important. You go there and you act rude, the audience will walk away and you will not collect your balance if you have more money to collect, if you understand what I mean. So how do you manage yourself on stage when you discover the audience is not following? So that's good. It's really great that you even discover that the audience is not following. Because if you didn't discover that, it would be a big challenge. It would be a big challenge. You would have spoken for hours, and then you come back and find out that they didn't hear anything. So when you find out that they're not following, then you find out what you can say, or you say something that helps you to reconnect with them. So what you've got to do is reconnect with your audience. Reconnect with your audience. Aside jokes, for those of us that are not so good with it, how would you ease the audience tension? And have you had events where you felt like you didn't do as much as you would have loved to? Oh yes, I've had events where I go up, I make a presentation, the organizers, and if you go to my LinkedIn page, you see a lot of my testimonials that have been written, for example, by the United States Consulate in Nigeria, by the German delegation of German industry and commerce in Nigeria. You see a lot of commendations that have been given by some top notch. So with you, your friends are so pleased with you, but you look at yourself and you say, I didn't deliver as much as I wanted to deliver. So that means you have a standard for yourself. So yes, that happens sometimes. You have a standard for yourself. You have a standard for yourself. And when you don't meet up to that standard, it doesn't matter whether they say you did well or not. You just know that I can do better. But you know what? Don't let that keep you on the ground. Don't let that keep you back or make you feel bad. You just got to keep getting better. It's even good that you have a nice standard, but don't be too hard on yourself. Okay, so somebody says, okay, so yeah, I mean, I'm going to go to these questions, but there are some important things I need to say. Now, one of them is that this is my LinkedIn page, as you can see it, and you can easily connect with me. I am someone who, I describe myself as someone who is quite active on LinkedIn. Other people describe me as one of the 50 top 50 personalities on LinkedIn in Nigeria. Some other people discuss names and some of those things that people say to describe me. But the truth is, I am one who is quite active on LinkedIn. And so I had a training recently, and I realized, I mean, this is not public speaking, but it is speaking because there's a lot you do. Remember what we said about non-vocal communication? There's a lot you do when you're not talking with your mouth. There's a lot you do when you're not talking with your mouth. You do some of it by talking on the internet, by talking with your brand. And so we had a training, and it was amazing. People are asking for a recording of that training where I taught people how to use LinkedIn, whether you're a student, whether you're a professional, you need to understand how to use LinkedIn. You need to understand how to Okay, so I'm back now. So you need to understand how to use LinkedIn to talk about your product, whether or not you're in an industry that does not advertise. People need to know what you do. If they don't know what you're doing, then you're probably not doing it. Or maybe you're doing it and you're on a low key because you don't like to shout. The truth is, you've got to know how to sell your brand. You've got to know how to talk about what you do. And that is why I posted a training on LinkedIn. That's why I put up a series of training on other platforms. I mean, I recently had a training for lawyers where I taught them how to use LinkedIn. So I'll tell you this, after this training, if you like to get this material at an affordable rate, if you like to get this materials at an affordable rate, I would reach out to you. I'll reach out to you with a questionnaire and asking you if you like to get this materials at an affordable rate. There's a video if you like to watch, and there is a presentation, there's a slide, or rather an ebook, to put it well, if you like to get these materials. Okay, so I just needed to say that. And also, guess what? We could have this more. There are a lot of questions, but I need to close now because my director is already giving me a signal and she's telling me I need to leave the studio. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to stop soon. I'm going to stop soon, but it's very important for me to tell you this. If you want to get more of this, if you want us to talk about public speaking more, if you want to find out what I'm doing, first thing first, connect with me on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn, and we're going to have a community. What do you think? In the chat box, what do you think about a community for public speakers? Has a community for compares in public speaking. What do you think about that community? Let me hear from you in the chat box. Someone says, I get nervous when I'm reading to the public without delivering. How do I manage that? How do I manage that? The same way you manage speaking to them, the same way you manage speaking to them, the same way. All of these principles that we talked about in Warrior Pine, please put them to use. Please put them to use. Someone said, do I need to use an intonation when I read, not when I am speaking? Yes, unless you want to read and they fall asleep. If you want to read and keep everybody awake, then you've got to allow your voice go up and go down. You've got to speak to them. So whether or not you're reading, so I could read, Professor Temi Popoola is a student of, okay, professors are not students, but you know, Professor Temi Popoola is a professor of law from the, I could have some intonation at some point. And you follow me when I do so. So what do you think about the idea of, the community where we constantly have these discussions? If there's any training, any freebie that I'm going to give you, like this material, for example, if you want to get this slide, if you want to get it, for example, you can get it from the community. So what do you think about that? What do you think of a community for compares, for public speakers, and for all their friends, whether or not they're public speakers, whether they're budding speakers, whether they're amateurs, whether they're trying to learn or not? A community for all of us. A community. All right. So I have your details because you registered. If you did not register and somehow you're here, please go and register so that I get your details and I can communicate to you about the community and about the other products that will be very helpful for you. So one thing, for example, that you want to do as a public speaker is vocal training. Yes, vocal training. Yes, you could wake up one morning or wake up very often and you just find out that your voice is just not sounding right. Or you go up there and you just find that there's something went wrong with your voice. But do you know you can control this? Oh yes, you can control it. And it's really simple. So these are some of the things we're going to be discussing in the community. So what do you say about the community? Does the community sound nice? It sounds great, great idea. A community sounds good, that's good. So I'm going to reach out to you through your email and through other platforms like LinkedIn. I hope you connect with me on LinkedIn and talk to you about this community where we share ideas together, we learn together, we connect, we get better, we sharpen ourselves, we sharpen our skills by talking, and perhaps not all the time, maybe sometimes other people could share with us, right? That sounds good? Sounds good to me. Time to round off now. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Temi Popoola. A lot of amazing questions, but I couldn't answer all of them. Hopefully, when we have a community, and the community is going to be called, shall I tell you now so that you get to hear it before every other person does? Okay, so our community is going to be called, okay, so we're going to have a community called Voices and Faces. Voices and Faces, Voices and Faces. I'll keep you posted with the details, and I'll also keep you posted with details about LinkedIn materials that you need. And if you have something you need to reach out, you have my email address already. So please just shoot me an email very quickly and let's talk about it. It's been a wonderful time. Great idea. Thank you so much. Been such an amazing time speaking with you and sharing with you. I do hope you put into practice the Rory Pin principles. Before we go, let me see you just put Rory Pin, and Faces and Voices. And to be sure that you know, Rory Pine, please don't leave out the E. Rory Pine principles. Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all of this. If you have questions, yes. If you want the materials, oh, I've just been prompted that some people have not subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? What are you doing if you've not subscribed? You've got to subscribe. If you want to see more of this, you have to subscribe. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. That means that you need to open a YouTube account. It's not difficult. Just open a YouTube account, subscribe so that you see other things. I put my videos out, encourage you, and perhaps sometimes we can have live meetings, sometimes recorded videos that would be really helpful. So Rory Pine here, Faces and Voices, Voices and Faces. Awesome. We're doing well. So if you want the e-material, don't forget, I'm going to send a questionnaire to you now, and you're going to respond telling me whether or not you want the question, whether or not you want the materials, and whether or not you want the other LinkedIn materials. And trust me, they're going to be affordable. It's been an amazing time here, and it's time to round off. It's time to go now. Thank you so much for your time. Have a lovely afternoon. So have a lovely afternoon and go practice everything that we've talked about. That's the greatest thing. Don't just say it. Don't just think it in your heart, but go and do it. Bye-bye.